Hey, hello, and welcome to what I think might be part 13. I don't know. I'm always like counting because I have to update the thing every time. I think it's 13, so things are just gonna go terribly. Although they've already gone terribly, so we've gotten our bad luck out of the way already. I think. Um, it's interesting that this game is already kind of. Of course, you can tell. I should be. You're watching the VOD anyway, or if you're in another part of the world that where it's actually later today. Um, yeah, you can tell that I'm streaming this during the day, which means that the green screen is a little wonky. Um, let's check out our PC capture. Yeah, it's less. Yeah, actually, probably the benefit of streaming Final Fantasy VII with like my particular setup is that it crops out all the bad parts of the green screen that go weird during the daytime. So I just did need to like blow up the little window for my face and then put it in the intro and outro or something. Um, yeah. So um, I think there are things I kind of wanted to talk about, like for intro, kind of uh, ruminating or whatever. I know. I think I already ranted enough about the whole combination lock puzzle. It's just a poor choice, and it's a situation where like sure you feel good when you do it like successfully, but I never really agree with the idea that like oh well you'll have like a, when you finally get through it, when you finally are successful in overcoming the challenge, you'll feel so relieved and and rewarded that it makes up for the whole you know it sort of makes it worth it or whatever. And I don't really personally agree with that philosophy. A poorly implemented challenge is a poorly implemented challenge. I think I already went over like all the strikes it has against it. It's kind of the reverse of the stealing problem. And speaking of which, like we found one instance where like a relatively valuable armor upgrade is incredibly easy to steal. Not sure what's up with that. I wonder if there's any guides that like actually specify like the steal chance. Because I'm actually kind of curious now as to how they like the mechanics behind stealing, basically. Um, in Final Fantasy VII, I'm assuming that like maybe the idea of the dragon, the golden bracelet being easy to acquire, might be a matter of a number of things. A number of factors maybe being taken into account by the developers. One, the encounter with the dragon itself is kind of a rare encounter. Like it isn't particularly common. It is also one of the more difficult enemies. It's probably the most. Maybe not in terms of I guess DPS maybe. Um, the amount of damage you can do to the party. Um, there's other enemies in the area that like do like some really bad status effects and such. So I'm not sure if the dragon is like the worst enemy I can encounter in that area really. At least with my current setup. But um, it's interesting. because I did manage to get free, which is enough to equip my entire current party. Um, and I stole it on the first try every time, which either means that it's 100% drop rate or steal rate, or it's like something like more like 50%, or I just got incredibly lucky every time because it is like the most powerful piece of armor you can get at this point in the game. So it feels like it feels weird. I guess is what I'm saying because a lot of times you have like unique items you can steal, like the boomerang, for example. You know, weapons. Basically, so far the ones I've gotten are like weapons for particular characters. Um, Actually, I think the carbon bangle was kind of easy to steal. So maybe like armor drop rates are kind of just generally easier to get than like weapon drops, which is a little. I mean, granted, like okay, like weapon, you will only need one of them. So this is like what I'm imagining the justification is that like with a weapon you'll only actually need one of that weapon, and it may be particularly valuable for like when you get it. So this is potentially being done to prevent players from like farming the steel, more or less. Um, exploiting the steel mechanic basically to acquire more than they really need. When it comes to like armor pieces, um, like okay, you could need at least three of them, if not, one for every single party member you could possibly have. Um, which I think can be up to eight, I think. Um, if you want to go that far. So, um, because of the utility of the item and the fact that you would obviously need more than one, they make it easier to steal. That's my guess, anyway. Um, Whereas in the item that you could only attain for one particular party member, is something you only really need one of, and if you get more, then like you would obviously like naturally sell them, and then you get too much money, and I don't know. I'm not sure that's really fair, to be honest. Like I can't complain that it was too easy. Like I can never complain that it's too easy, but I can complain that the other deals are too hard and not really fun to do. To basically just go round after round, basically having everyone do defense and occasionally healing until I finally get the item I want. Um, is not particularly fun or engaging, really. You know, um, it's always effectively the same strategy. Um, yeah, and I still stand by the idea that like you should use more of a shuffle technique. Also, I did, by the way, if anyone is curious, I did find the last card for uh my D20 uh emulating card deck. I don't think I really talked a whole lot about. I think I may have like talked about my concept for it before, and some of the concepts of how it's supposed to work are coming back to me a little bit. Like there's lots of. I actually started designing a custom deck. And I'm pretty sure the files are just gone forever now because it was on a hard drive that broke. Um, so I had to like redo it from scratch, more or less, which sucks. Um, but anyway, the idea is that you have, um, well, the core idea is that, well, I take a deck of cards and just the 1 to 10 numbered cards, and I basically like use it red and black sharpies to mark numbers on them, 1 to 20, and basically I make um, diamonds and spades the higher numbers, and sort of the sharper looking ones that are the higher numbers, I guess, like shape wise. Whereas like the rounder shaped ones, hearts and spades, are the lower numbers. Um, so, yeah, and it is you have two of each number, so like you can potentially get a repeat as you're drawing. You can get the same number twice potentially. Um, and I think I just remembered the general idea of what I would use the Joker cards. We have the twin Mad Gods basically are the Joker cards. Manny and Dementus, you probably can't actually see. You can kind of see. You can kind of see Manny. Um, but Manny is like the red Joker. Dementus is the black Joker. They represent like the positive and negative elements of madness, kind of modeled after Shivering Isles with Mania and Dementia, except that there actually are two different deities representing positive and negative aspects of madness in a slightly different way than even Mania and Dementia, really. Um, there's a bit like more nuance, particularly because they are separate entities with their own separate philosophies and such. Um, it's a little different. Like it's inspired by Sheogorath and Shivering Isles to some extent, but it's also, um, yeah, it's also quite a bit different. Anyway, the main idea, I believe, if I remember correctly, is that well, there's a couple ways you can, like, this is very customizable in terms of like how you would actually execute using the deck in place of actual D20. Um, I mean, it creates like the whole point to it is that it creates a different dynamic to how dice rolls work. So there's different aspects you can customize. One is like how many cards you draw before you shuffle. Um, so I think my baseline is probably 5. Um, and I think and there's other like little sort of optional rules you can throw in. Like if you draw a natural 20, you automatically reshuffle. Like that, that no matter like if it's the first card you draw, you reshuffle. Basically. Um, the other idea, of course, going back to Manny and Dementus, um, there's a few ways you could treat these wild cards. Basically, they operate as wild cards, more or less. So, if you draw a Joker, um, uh, with Manny, if you draw, there's a combination of different rules, and you can either go with one or the other. Um, one of the ideas I have, like the most basic idea, which wouldn't even involve the deck at all, is that if you draw the Manny card, you roll with advantage. If you draw the Demented card, you roll with disadvantage. And I guess regardless, it would be sort of treated like it could potentially have the idea like you reshuffle after drawing either of these cards because they're special cards. The other idea is if you at least if you have cards already like drawn, you basically put the cards you've drawn like in a um, in a row in front of you. So I'm getting a bunch of black cards all at once. There you go. There's a red card there. So I'm going to talk about this as my little intro, waiting for people to potentially tune in. So I've drawn. Well, at this point, I had to have drawn like. Um, I'm just gonna shuffle. And I have a lot of black cards to get a lot of. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna draw. Well, let's just go by um, the 5 card rule. So let's say I've drawn 5 cards. I think I may have shown this off before in a previous stream, but I'm just reminded of it. I kind of want to go over it again. um, so I draw. Let's start with many. So many is my 5th card. So, so there's 2 ways you can go about it, and you can also like have both rules in place, pretty much, depending on things. That's I guess another way you can go about it. So let's say that I just, I've shuffled, and Manny is on the top of my deck. It's the first card I draw. So then I would just roll with advantage. I also just roll with advantage if it's the first red card I draw. I will roll with advantage. Or if you want to keep things simple, it's just roll with advantage. Now, my current situation, I actually have the first 4 cards I've drawn are evenly red and black. So I can actually illustrate with this spread the effects of Manny and Dementis on this, which is cool. So Manny, I have two red cards and 2 black cards. So basically, I take my roll would become the highest value of the red cards I have currently drawn. So I have an 11 and a 16. That means that my roll, as it were, would be 16 plus whatever bonus supply or whatever. Now, if I, on the other hand, got Dementis, that would mean that I either roll with disadvantage, or I take the lower value of whatever cards I have drawn in my spread so far. So, it's because I have a 17 and a free, so my roll will be free. And then I reshuffle. There's also some ideas that go with a potential race I have, which is basically a genie race. Where basically there are different types of genies that can that basically most genies, if you're playing as a genie character in my campaign setting, you do not have the wish spell. You have potentially a minor wish spell, which you can do various things with it. You have different levels of wishes that you can grant. The more experienced, higher level of a genie you are, basically, the more powerful wishes you can grant. And I have some general, I had, and I have to like rediscover them in my head. Some interesting ideas of like what you can do with like a minor wish, a moderate wish or a major wish. Like there might be like at least 3 tiers of wishes, and you basically would have, as a genie, you would have basically wish points. Like it could eventually be a class to some extent, or it could be a racial feature. Although also scale with you in a way that would be similar to a class. So I don't know. Um, right. Like, I'm not sure how to implement it exactly with regard to fifth edition rules, but the general idea is that you have different types of wishes that would sort of scale as you level. Um, and it might actually need to be a class because but I don't know, like, I'm not sure if I have enough ideas to make it a full fledged class. That's like the challenge. Um, like, I could really expand upon it in terms of like the number of wishes you can grant and maybe even some of the like details of wish granting. But um, I'm not sure if it's like the basic concept. I'm not sure if it's valuable enough to be like a class on its own. But it also could be overpowered as simply like, hey, you have a wish, a race whose whole shtick is being able to grant wishes, and the higher level you are, the more wishes you can grant, and you don't even have to take extra, like, and you have this ability on top of whatever other abilities you get from like whatever classes you're playing as. And when you reach level 20, you have like basically on top of whatever abilities you get from your class, you have like the ability to grant major wishes with wishes equivalent to the wish spell. Um, Simply from being a genie. Like, would that be overpowered? Um, but then again, like the genie as a class, genies would be kind of boring in a way, maybe underpowered. Because it would be kind of boring because like the whole thing is granting wishes, and the restrictions are basically like the general idea is that you're altering fate, and the type of wish, the power of the wish, is a measure of how much you can alter fate. Um, Basically, that's the general premise. Um, but yeah, I think my challenge for it was always sort of like, can I just make it a race, or does it kind of need to be a class? And then like I had to come up with like a bunch of other features to actually make the class worthwhile, and of course subclasses and all that. So it's a weird conundrum. But anyway, that has nothing to do with Final Fantasy VII. Really, it's just my own ideas for D&D custom rules. But anyway, the idea, getting back to the card deck thing, um, is that a genie, like potentially by default, would use the card deck instead of rolling dice. Because the whole idea is that they manipulate fate inherently. So their dice rolls would just, or their ability checks and what have you would just work in a different way. It's like every time they draw a card, they're actually like altering fate, or every time they do a like the general idea would be that they're every time they, and this could be the basic race feature really. Like they might even have like they might have some limited utility of minor wish by default. Um, but unless they take levels in the class, they would not necessarily have access to higher level wish abilities. That could be one thing, but then again, like how do I flesh out Genie as a class, um, and make it interesting and dynamic enough to be worthy of being a class? Um, that's kind of the question. But anyway, the idea would be that basically every time they do anything, they're kind of manipulating fate. It slightly, basically, because the idea is that basically, like, this deck has two of every number in the game, or that you could possibly roll on a dice. because that's 1 of 20 two times. So it is possible to like draw the same number twice, hypothetically anyway. But still, like, so when I start the deck, the statistical chances of rolling a natural 20, for example, are effectively the same as they are on a dice. You know, if I were rolling a dice, because it's 1 in 20. So I actually rolled. I actually got a 19. Um, but now my chances of getting a natural 20 are kind of doubled in a way. Like, basically, my chances of getting any given number are now um hard to quantify because like there's two of each card, so I have to like really wrap my head around it. Um, like if we had just a deck of like, okay, let me just draw two cards. I got 7 now. Okay, two cards. Now my chances of getting any given number are more or less 1 in 19, basically. You know, lesser if we're talking about, you know, the two cards I've already drawn, which the chances of that have been cut in half. So my chances of getting a 19 are now less. Um, it's a subtle way of, uh, but the idea is that you can use a minor wish to basically manipulate the cards. So let's say I draw four cards here. Okay, so as a genie, I drew a 4. Like, one of the cards I drew is the lowest card that I drew is 4. So I can basically use a minor wish to remove that card I've drawn in my spread, as I call it, from a deck for at least the next shuffle. So now my chances of getting a 4 are cut in half. Um, then I can actually use a wish to even like replay a card I've already drawn, potentially. Like, there's a few like different interesting ideas for how to make the GD class like interact with this deck. But anyway, sure, no one, like only a handful of people watching this video are interested in my own like homebrew D&D concepts. But I enjoy talking about these sorts of things. So I think I actually got these from a Dollar Tree, probably. Like, sometimes if you're lucky, you can find like a 2-pack of playing cards for $1. So we've got the claw is about to reach level 35. What's that? The Leaning Tower Pizza. The leading rocket of Rocket Town. Rusty old rocket. What's that doing here? There's a man living, and that's that. So hey, we have and we actually buy gold bracelets for everyone else here, if we want. wonder what intellect does, because we have magic. Like, I think the intellect would affect magic, but it's usually like, at least in D&D, like it's a wizard are powered by intellect or intelligence. So I wonder what intellect actually does. This actually has higher attack, lower accuracy. Substantially lower accuracy. Huh. I think I just wasted my money. Because that is radically lower accuracy. Like, the gate is like 6 more attack, but it cuts my accuracy in half. Like, there's no way that would be worth it. And really, this is a minor gripe, really, I guess, in the end of it, because, like, there's no way they can account for, showing the effect of every single stat is, maybe a little too much to ask for. Especially with so many different stats at play. Although the only relevant stats for weapons would be attack and accuracy, really. At least in most cases. Like, maybe some of them would increase your magic attack, I don't know. I kind of wish I'd known that before I bought it. It gave me back 15,000. It gave me back basically half the value of the weapon. Yeah, it only shows what it does to attack and defense, not to accuracy. Which is kind of... I mean, I could exit out of the game and just not buy this. So I just started. Let's do that. Let's be sitting for a kind of short cutscene twice. I should need to... Oh, this guy's kind of misogynist, isn't he? I don't have Tifa in my party right now, so I can't even tell if that's a better weapon than what she already has. What the heck's going on with him? He's like randomly going bald. I take it that that's just a problem with the character model. Is this the original or just a copy? I have to know, it's keeping me awake at night. Would you like something to drink? Go on. You met the captain yet? He's the face of the village, so you should probably go see him. If it's about the village, you should talk to the captain. He's the one in charge here. Captain? Who's the captain? Captain was a pilot back when Shinra was interested in the space program. He was going to be the world's first astronaut, but, well, there was a bit of a problem. Been living in obscurity ever since. Started dreaming about flying off into space. Have you seen a man in a black cloak? Man in a black coat. Can't say that I have. Drink puts your heart at ease. Okay. Okay, I go back and do all the other stuff. Let's take it. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember there being quite this much like repeated music. The rest of that rocket is all that remains of a Shinra stage program. What's your problem? Still nothing to do. Isn't anything exciting ever gonna happen around here? Jeez, it's so boring. There's gotta be something to do. There's gotta be something to do? Wow, this... I really need to comment, I don't know, like post on the thread for reunion. Like, there's several spots in the translation where there's question marks where there shouldn't be. Like, this should probably be more an exclamation point. Like, there's two ways, as of anything, there's two solutions to this. Either you, change the, depending on, I guess, part of it would depend on the nature of the original Japanese. Granted. I think my change would probably be, isn't there anything to do? Rather than there's got to be something to do. Like, if there's something in the nature of the original Japanese that makes it feel more like a question, then it should be translated to, isn't there anything to do? Like, isn't there anything to do around here? Like, something like that. Like, you know, rephrase the statement to be more of a question statement than a, there's got to be something to do. Again, it would help to say the lines out loud, and if it doesn't sound natural, then you're translating it wrong. Or localizing it, or whatever. Like, you know, that if it doesn't sound natural in English, then you need to make it sound more natural in English. Because there's got to be something to do? Like, that doesn't sound natural. And this isn't the first time this has happened, so, like, you know, and I'm being a little, I'm being harsher because then even though I will be on, because this is a fan translation, because that's what's like, not so much because I hold a fan translation to a higher standard. Part of it is that, I suppose, because I mean, the whole point is to translate it better than the original. And when it isn't better than the original, then it's something of a problem. Like, that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is that the people who, something can actually be done about it. The original translation of the original Final Fantasy VII, that was a disc-based game. You can't exactly, you can't exactly expect Square Enix to patch a 20-year-old game. They couldn't have patched it back then when the game originally came out. To update the translation to make it better. But this is a fan project that, they can fix these things. So I might, I can't give. I had to ask them to watch my Let's Play of it and just find all of the spots where I say that shouldn't be a question. The way it's presented, it does not sound like it's a question. There's been at least 3 or 4 times where there's been a statement that should not have a question mark on it the way it's written. So either write it so that it sounds more natural as a question, or don't make it a question. Don't have the question mark. One of those two things. So here I think the best route would probably be either replace the question mark with an exclamation point. There's gotta be something to do! Frustration. And again, it depends on whether or not the original Japanese reads as a question. Then you have to state it as a question. So, isn't there something to do? Or there must be something to do around, or I don't know, there must be something to do around here, which would be more of a statement again. I think it would be isn't there something to do around here? Would be kind of my translation, maybe? If you need to have the question mark. Again, it depends on what the original Japanese was like. But, yeah. I think I've already, said... You'll notice that I tend to restate things, because I like to find the perfect way to say something. That's why I'm repeating myself so much. It's this is a better way to put what I'm trying to convey. Maybe I'm actually literally just repeating myself. That's just part of the way my brain is wired. I'm sorry. It used to be a launch pad for Shinra rockets. Oh, you don't say. That leading rocket there, Shinra 26. It never got off the ground though. And I think something. Again, I don't really mean to plug Lore Runner so much, but in his most recent playthrough, he was actually asking how has the rocket not fallen over yet? I don't know really, but I referred you to the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Granted, that's a different situation. That was a tower that was meant to stand upright. That due to some, at least from as the story goes, due to some errors in the architectural engineering of the tower, or something to do with the way the like something happened, something was done poorly, or there was some sort of. I had to look this up on Wikipedia, like no for sure, but like something happened, or there was some oversight or something that caused the tower to end up leaning the way it did, and it ended up becoming, but also due to the way that it ended up doing that, it actually was able to stay that way. Like that's kind of the miracle or the miraculous aspect of it, is that like not only did it lean, did it end up accidentally leaning the way it did, but it kind of stayed in that configuration for a fairly long time without gravity just causing it to topple over. Due to, again, another combination of factors. And, of course, more recently there have been problems with it, potentially actually toppling over, so they've brought in, like, engineers to come up with ways to keep it from actually toppling over, while still being the famous Leaning Tower of Pisa. So... so it's possible that the way things just happen to happen here is a similar situation. I kind of doubt it. I'm pretty sure it's just meant to invoke the Leaning Tower of Pisa without like really understanding, because the Tower of Pisa was not a rocket that started lifting off and then came back down. Like, the physics of that particular circumstance may not allow for this kind of circumstance. At least assuming that the planet here, physics operate the same way, and the planet has a similar gravity to Earth, all of that stuff, I guess, but yeah. Oh, this is an item store. We got some new material here. I'm sure who we're gonna equip it to. We don't really. It's probably past time that we actually get more weapon slots, more material slots. The only thing my dithering old husband does is stare at that dawn rocket all day long. Well, he really loves machinery. He did. Let's see. I need to think of something amusing. Obtain power source. I was giving everything to... Okay. Why? Obtain drill arm. That must be for Barrett. I just like might be more powerful, but it would also eliminate the whole long range advantage he would have, at least against certain enemies. Hmm. There's a Shinra logo on it. Tiny Bronco. Neat. Wish we had one of those. Should we take it, Cloud? May I help you? Oh, it's okay. We were just looking. If you'd like to use it, please ask a captain. He should be in his rocket. I'm sure. And you? Cloud. I'm Eris. Vincent, I'm with the... Well, apologies, that is no longer relevant. Hmm? You're not with Shinra? I thought that you were here to discuss restarting the space program. Huh? New President Rufus is scheduled to come here. The captain's been restless all morning. Rufus? Dun dun dun. And then she just disappears. Isn't she supposed to be working on this gosh dang tea? I'm probably going to be censoring myself a bit with Sid. This may have come up a few times already, but I have a, well, partly thanks to my mother, really, a refusal to take the Lord's name in vain. Interesting. I kind of like, I've noticed a little bit. I'm not sure if this is like part of the PC version in general, or just thanks to the mods, but there's actual like anti-aliasing, which is actually pretty decent anti-aliasing at that. Like, it's really good anti-aliasing. I mean, I guess you can notice a little bit in his hair. I'm like pointing to it as if you can see it. Okay, now I gotta figure out what his voice is gonna sound like. Who the hell are you? What do you want? We're looking for the captain. Captain? Well, that's yours truly, of course. I'll probably ease up on that if it starts destroying my voice, of course. Name's Sid, and everyone calls me Captain, though. So what do you want? Tell us about the rocket. Hey, not bad for a kid. Alright then, here it is. You know, Shinra developed a lot of technology during the meaningless war, right? It might be peddling Mako now, but back when they were a weapons manufacturer. But back then they were a weapons manufacturer. Well, in the middle of all that, they created a rocket engine. We all went nuts at the thought of going into space. Our dreams grew bigger and bigger. They poured stupid amounts of cash into the budget. made prototype after prototype. And this right here is the final model, Shinra 26. It shows the finest pilot in all of Shinra. No, the world! Me! I mean, you need to use your best, don't you? At last we came to the launch day. Everything was going perfect. But because of that dumbass Shara, the launch was a failure. And the pension started. The upshot is Shinra retired the space program. After they told me the future of space, and got all my damn hopes up. Soon as they figured they could turn Mako into money, it was all over. They didn't even so much as look at the space travel again. Excuse me. Money, moolah, dinero, that's all that mattered to them in the end. They reduced my dream to a bunch of numbers. They reduced my dream to a bunch of numbers. Look at this rucksack. I was supposed to be the first man in space with this. Every day, it leans a little more. At this rate, I don't know which of us will bite the dust first. My only hope is the president. My only hope. Help me, Rufus One Kenobi. You're my only hope. Have I mentioned how incredible this mod looks? Like, there's just a few screens where, like, it's really, really amazing. This is probably one of them. Like, so far there's only been, like, one screen where the upscaling looked really terrible. Which is, like, the one area in Cosmic Canyon where, like, okay, you need to run it for the machine learning algorithm a couple more times. Or maybe do some things by hand to, like, try to make it look better. Cloud? Did the captain say anything? Not really. Oh. Hey, Sheriff! What are you, blind? Why not use some submission and bring our guests some tea, half-wit? I'm sorry. Really, don't mind us. Quit mumbling! Sit your ass in the chair and drink your gosh dang tea! Oh, damn it, now I'm just pissed! Sure, I'll be in the backyard tuning up the tiny Bronco. Tea for the guests! Get it done! Get her done. I refuse to use where's the Cable Guy voice for this guy. Sheesh, talk about bad manners. Sorry, this is our fault. Oh no, it's always like this. Your patience is commendable. Oh, he's like that because I was clumsy. I'm the one who destroyed his dream. What happened? Hey, get your ass in gear! You walk like a snail! Even the moon will take off waiting around for you. I'm sorry. How much longer are you gonna be checking those damn oxygen tanks? Sure, being cautious is all well and good, but it's pointless to go on checking them. It wouldn't wreck you if hell did freeze over. But, no buts! You're not stupid, so step it up. I'm sorry. Captain, our dreams are finally coming true. We're so proud to be part of the launch of Shinra 26. Preparations are complete. All that's left is liftoff. Yeah, back in no time. Alright, Captain, fly our dreams into space. Thanks, guys. Safe journey. Gauges clear. Shinra 26 ready for liftoff. Engine pressure rising. Shinra 26, 3 minutes to liftoff. Beginning countdown. Finally. Well, what happened? As I said, we have an emergency situation. The mechanic is still in the engine section of the rocket. What did you just say? Which one of those idiots is it? I don't know. Activating the intercom to the engine section. Gosh dang it! What the hell? Who the hell is in there? Captain and Shara, don't worry about me. Please go ahead with the launch. Shara, what are you still doing in there? I was concerned the results from the oxygen tank test weren't satisfactory. You fool! When this thing takes off, it's gonna be so hot in there, there ain't gonna be shit left of you. You're gonna be burned to a crisp. You're gonna die, get it? It's okay. As long as I can fix this, the launch will be a success. I'm almost done. Almost done? You're gonna die! Said the countdown starting in a second. There's not enough time. I'm starting the engine. Yeah. I mean, I know there's a bunch of stuff that like goes into like starting this thing, but yeah, there's a person down there. You can't start the engine. Delay the freaking launch. Like, you can't, like, there may be a little better writing here. Also, there's like the mention that like, again, Lore Runner mentioned that like, basically, once the engines are starting, it's already too late. Like, she should be dead by all rights. Also, isn't it a little weird that like, okay, there's the interesting touch that there's this crew here, but they're just here to send Sid off, or at least it's the impression I'm getting. Like, shouldn't there be a crew, like, in the rocket? Like, there's a second pilot seat. Why is there a second pilot seat if there isn't a second pilot or at least crew member? There's all sorts of weird plot holes here. Anyway, we're starting the engine. Hey, wait! Sharon's still in there! What should we do, Sid? If we port now, it'll be 6 months before another launch. Okay, yeah, but it's like better launch again in 6 months than have someone die in the first mission to space. It's better to be cautious and wait longer than to completely screw up the entire thing. Shit, Sharon, you goddamn fool! You want to make me a murderer? No, you're making the person who started the engine the murderer, but... Captain, is that you, Shara? I checked up tank 7. Once a complete tank 8, we're all clear. Shara, hurry up, you're gonna die! Ignition in 30 seconds, beginning countdown. Said forget about her, she'll never make it out in time. What am I supposed to do? Engine ignition in 15 seconds, internal temperature rising. Feel my temperature rising. Oh man! The moon! Igniting engine. Oh! Ah, she's already dead. Also, yeah, like, it didn't actually run into any of the support, so... What is holding it up again? A pretty emergency shutdown switch to save my life. Even though I'm already just a ghost of... a planet ghost. After that, the space program suffers cutbacks and the launch was cancelled. It's my fault he didn't fulfill his dream. That's why it's alright. I have a debt to pay. Here, what have I used to with them tea? I'm sorry. Sit down already, or ain't my hospitality good enough for you? A little late. Where's Rufus? Yeah, long time no see. I don't remember what voice I gave him before. So, said my old chum, how have you been hanging? Well, if it ain't Fat Man Palmer, how long will you lot figuring out on keeping me waiting? So, when's the space program starting up again? I don't know. The president's outside. Why don't you ask him? Good for nothing, fat bastard. No. Change that then, huh? Hey, don't call me that. Yeah, tea. Can I have some too? With lots of sugar and honey. Oh yeah, and don't forget the lard. That's actually part of the original translation, apparently. Is the space program really the reason why President Rufus is paying us a visit? Okay. No, I'm not talking to her. Just... Aha! Yeah, have we met them before? Hey, is the tea ready yet? Amber, lots of sugar and honey, and a big old dollop of lard! Yaha! Oh, please don't tell me it's gonna crash. Or has it frozen? That's worse in some ways. Oh, great! We'd sit through like all these cutscenes. Some of which are timed, so Let's figure out if this is a recurring bug first, because I don't know. I don't want to waste more time than we have to. We need to have a bug counter. Block the screen of death as on PS3. What? Oh, it's not responding. Well, that's lovely. I'm sure that's better or worse than crashing. I'm also not sure if I can skip the... I mean, I'm not sure if I can save for the cutscene, because I think the cutscene is... Or after seeing the cutscene, so... Also, I just lost all my progress. Yep, I lost all my progress today. Hope you like watching the cutscenes over again. I might be able to skip right to, what about this one? Is this a shop? Yep, okay. I'm sure there's any particular advantage to seeing the first cutscene with Shara. I'm just gonna assume there isn't because I was overly critical of the cutscene, wasn't it? Now I gotta watch it again. Game knows that I'm being overly critical of it. And like, I actually go inside until I talk to Shara. That's a little bold right there. Now we gotta do things in order. Exactly. Where are you? Oh, you're right there. I guess it is almost supper time. Okay, I'm wondering about those pipes. I think they're just reflecting, are supposed to be reflecting the tiny Bronco. Doesn't quite look natural. Also, where the heck does Shara go? Like, that just kind of bugs me in terms of just continuity. And once we talk to Sid the first time, I'm gonna go out and save again. It's possible that I might need to wait for another patch from Reunion or something. Or go and check and see if there is a patch that... Okay. And maybe while the cutscene's playing, I'll go feed Ellie. I don't think there's a way to like accelerate it either. Although I'm not sure when it starts, the cutscene starts going automatic, so maybe when the countdown starts. Yep, this isn't automatic until the countdown starts. But anyway, I think the biggest thing we need to address is just the lack of crew, like in the ship. I mean, yeah, like he wouldn't be the first man in space. He would have been one of the first men in space, but really, it takes more than one person to pilot a rocket. Okay, I think this is where. Yeah, it's okay. So. Okay, we're back. Okay, fingers crossed we're not gonna crash the game again. And it... Well, this is lovely! Can we not even get past the first disc? Is it just not possible? The game is not responding. Well, once again, we are screwed. I doubt it's gonna start responding again. I know there's a document that supposedly like covers all of the bugs in the game. Let's do gold document. Let's see, bugs tab. Where's the bugs tab? Okay, okay. There's field script errors. Model overhaul. That's just stuff that's. Not bugs. To check. Save map. See text. Game text. Okay, this is an unreported bug or something. So great. I might be the first person to run into this bug. And there's no way to fix it. So, once again, this playthrough is cancelled. Sid is just too awesome. My computer cannot handle how awesome Sid is as a character. Like, I've been able to overcome every hurdle this game has thrown at me, both in terms of the gameplay and in terms of like problems, PC Master Race problems. Like I could try troubleshooting it and like disabling parts of the mod and see if that helps, but I honestly don't know. I'm so sorry. I'm wasting everyone's time. I've got the log. It doesn't really say anything about. Um, it shows what I have activated. There's a high precision timer. Um, so, yeah, that's kind of it for now until I figure out how the hell to deal with this. Set your field screens. Like the high precision timer, maybe because of the timer in the cutscene, like it caused some weird thing to happen. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Um, here's our empty wall patrons. Only credit is our producer Aaron McMahon, who's a special credit that I don't want to bother expressing every time, but yeah. Um, there's a link to the Patreon in the description. If you're on Twitch, you'll just have to search for us, I guess, or search for our YouTube channel and find the link there, I guess. Um, I should get a bit.ly link for Patreon too. Anyway, we have our Minecraft lobby to check out. That's cool. Bunch of other living things you can do. I'll take a few seconds of your time. Guys, thanks for watching. Until next time, whatever the hell I do next time, sayonara.